Welcome to the world of Warcraft.
Welcome back to another talk about groups and strategy. Today we are running Strath live, or as it's called on Turtle WoW, the Scarlet Bastion. You can see we've got our saps down here, and our tank today is a warrior. He's been doing alright so far. The one thing that's been a little frustrating, of course, as a healer, I don't think this ever stops, no matter who your tank is, but sometimes they forget to let you drink. That happens here. We had some bad luck. As you saw, we pulled some extra mobs. Thankfully, I had just enough mana to keep things rolling. Able to hop into bear here, stun them. Get a little distance. Unfortunately, tank didn't quite pick up aggro yet. He's still working on another mob, so I go back into bear. I can hold it for a second until he gets it again, which he does. Excellent. Thankfully, all these rogues are guild mates. You might have seen them from our stealth runs. So we're doing a rogue heavy run here, and the focus is to talk about crowd control and how to use it to your advantage as the tank and the healer. We're going to top off our mana here and take on another boss. I'm going to go ahead and fast forward a little bit at this point. Alright, so I believe what happened here, we had no saps because one of these saps failed, and so our rogue vanished. So our rogue should be sapping these two, and then we kill this one. But unfortunately, when improved sap failed, there's a 10% chance for it to break you out of stealth. Our rogue vanished and got ready to reset and try again, but the tank went ahead and went in. So what that does is these mobs, instead of one of them being sapped or two of them being sapped, now they're all angry, right? The tank just ran in trying to help the rogue. Now he's trying to do the tank's job, right? But now our CC's broken, so now we have to fight all three mobs at once. Let's take a quick look at how that goes for us. Let's clear those marks and continue. Apologize for the lack of sound this run. Unfortunately, my mic was left on when I did the recording initially, and I'd rather not make you listen to all my keyboard pressing and breathing. We're trying to use line of sight here. Tank's got two of them. He's doing pretty good. Unfortunately, these mobs do disarm. That's quite frustrating as the tank. But our rogues are focusing as much damage as they can, trying to blind one. You notice that one next to our tank there. We got Moon blinded for a second. And we've got two mobs down, and of course my healing threat has the initiate there. She's not happy with me. We've got a gouge up on her. Now I'm using line of sight to make sure that she can't just free cast on me when she comes out. Now she's going to try to heal there, and I was able to bash her. I don't know if my bash or the rogue's kick was first, but either way, she was not able to get a heal off. And now we're able to take her out and finish off the last Crimson Guardsman. So we ended up all living there. As a druid or even a paladin healer, you can sometimes get a crucial stun in to try and help the group or help yourself. So be aware for those situations. This next pull and these hallways in here can be quite tricky. I'm hanging out here until I know that we're ready. Now we have two of our saps down. We only have to fight two of the Scarlet. Makes for a much easier fight. Unfortunately, we end up pulling the patrol as well. You can see me trying to line of sight his bear, get a little extra health. Got that Crimson Initiate coming in on me, and I'm trying to heal myself before I get cast on. Another 800 mana burn. And I try to go bear and stun him, but I'm just too slow. Not quite good enough in the global cooldown. Those are the kind of things these rogues are excellent at. Making sure they rotate their blinds, get gouges up, anything to interrupt spells, keep somebody CC just for that extra second so you can finish off a mob. And unfortunately right here, I just about go down. And our tank is going to go down if I'm not careful. I'm out of mana, trying so hard to wait and get some kind of a heal up on him. We were able to swift mend there. And so far, we're able to keep him up. I will say this is not the ideal group makeup for Strath Live or most dungeons. You know, 3 melee DPS makes it a bit hard to deal with ranged units, and melee DPS typically end up taking more damage, so it's harder on the healer. Alright, let's pause this and move forward. Now, you'll notice our next bull here has 3. One of them's already sapped, so the tank can pull either of these. With ranged weapon, I would recommend pulling the middle because there is a... Is there room to the left here? I don't recall. We're going to have to take a look. You have to watch out. On some of these Scarlet hallways, there's a room over here that'll have a couple mobs. Go ahead and clear that. But we're all repairing, getting ready for the next group because melee damage does take that extra damage. So their gear will need a little bit of repairing. Go ahead and continue. Fast forward just a little bit as we wait for the tank. Nope, there's the tank, okay. So the tank does range pull the middle, as we recommended, so he did a great job there. Unfortunately, my rejuvenation, not renew, too much of a priest in the past, got myself threat, right? And he's doing a great job holding these 2 mobs. The rogues were able to gank one of the caster NPCs. But he's holding threat on these. Mind you, this tank is well geared. More often than not, he did the right thing, you know, I mean, about as good as you can, especially with a group of guildies who are used to working with each other and you're the odd man out. That's always difficult. I go bear here just to try and tank this elemental, and doesn't have a lot of health, even though I don't hit hard as Resto. You know, but I'm still watching the tank's health, able to pop out and give him some hots. And we set up for the next pull. Here we go, we have a sap down, and we're going to take out the other mob. Now here, we do have a room to the left, so we have to be careful. There's also a hallway to the right that has a patrol, and if you're not careful, will aggro and can put the group in danger. Unfortunately, the undead here on Turtle WoW don't quite work the same as they do in Classic, so they don't come into the hall quite yet. I believe it's after you clear this, not the boss, or mini boss, I should say, but after you clear this whole hallway, there's usually a group of undead that storm in behind you, and you have to take out either then or on your way out, should you choose to run out. Or if your group wipes, you get to clear them on the way in. Fast forward just a little bit here. Get ready for the next group. What happened here? Okay, so our tank, notice I'm at 70% health. He is going to run into this room just a little bit, and there's a patrol. He accidentally aggros. Thankfully, he runs right out. And we only have the patrol itself. So he did a great job there, making sure that he did not, you know, get extra mobs. Although he goes right back in to start pulling again, so we were not able to get saps down. So now we're fighting a bunch of mobs that we didn't need to fight all at once necessarily, because we weren't allowed to get our CC up. So we're tanking this elemental. Just trying to hold off. Keep the tank alive. You'll notice he's still doing a good job. He's got the majority of the mobs on him. Yeah, he's got all of them still on him. It's just the one non-elite, and that's not a huge problem. You'll notice my health didn't go down too much while it was hitting me. The big thing is the tank is keeping threat on the majority of the elites, which is more than you can say for a lot of groups and a lot of tanks. We're going to keep moving forward here. I go Shadow Meld just to make sure if the undead come behind me that I'm safe, at least for a second. They go ahead and they start killing the next group while I get full mana. Alright, now this next part, I'm going to fast forward to it. Pause here. Fast forward. Down here. You'll notice that there's a group. Let's just start annotating right here. There's a group of 3 here. We're going to try and get 2 saps down. You can't see this extra mob there. And take out this one, right? So this one will get taken out. The other 2 will get sapped. Then we'll take them out in order. Now the threat comes here because there are 2 other mobs that stand here next to some boxes. But there's a patrol that'll come down this hallway here. And if they aggro at the wrong spot, they will pull everyone with them. And then it's pretty much a wipe. At least in every group I've run into. So you want to make sure that you pull this group here, one at a time, back around these corners, line of sight, or preferably even maybe up a little bit further, just to avoid that patrol that comes down here. So let's take a look at how we handled it and make our critiques. So we're getting the saps down. He's got one marked. It's actually a really good mark. The priest is one we want to take out. But unfortunately, instead of pulling back, our tank is fighting in the middle of the room, which if you kill quickly is not a huge deal, but you'll notice to our right here, we are going to run into some trouble. And you can't see it from my perspective yet, but if memory serves, we are going to have a group running in from the right. As I wait for that to happen, you'll notice that our rogues are able to stealth again. Turtle WoW, after you sap, with improved sap, you can even kill the mob that's not sapped. And if you do it right and you don't engage the sap target, or the tank doesn't break sap, you can re-stealth as a rogue, so you can get an extra opener on every sapped mob. It's great. So I was mistaken. This was not the pull that happened on. This next one is, when we fight this patrol here, this is the one that we get the extra mobs. And you'll notice our tank just charged. And I'm wondering what's going on because now we have 3 extra mobs. You'll notice the number of mobs that we're fighting now. Significantly more than the 2 that we're patrolling. And I've got to start healing everyone, and taking 300 damage hits from mobs hurts quite a bit. The tank is doing his best to keep him off me. That's hard when they're bubbled like that. So he goes down, unfortunately. I'm not able to keep him up and keep myself up. Thankfully, our rogues are able to break contact, vanish, and then they're going to use cables, pardon me, get us back up. Gonna wait for that galleon, except we don't. We mess up, vanish again, don't, mess up. Mob runs right through one of our other rogues, so they decide to just try and take it out. Unfortunately, we lose one. Jack's eel ends up dying. However, the other two are able to take him out without dying. So let's fast forward a second here while we wait for Cables. Thankfully, Cables worked on me, and now I'm going to res our tank. Jaxiel is going to run back already. There we go. Res the tank. We're waiting for Jaxiel. He's back in the dungeon. We're ready to go. And unfortunately, our tank ran off while I don't have any health or mana. I start drinking and eating, and I figure he's going to pull, so I'm running up here. And he's not yet, so thankfully I get a breather and I get a little bit more mana. As I've stated in previous videos, I'm still not confident with my druid healing abilities, so I end up using a lot more mana than I probably need to. Now here you notice the tank does a great job letting our rogue sap. Now we're only fighting the priest. We're able to take them out no problem. And then next the defender. So when we're allowed to sap, we can really take out mobs fast, especially with 3 rogues on a clothy. Now this next part gets a little bit tricky. I'll go ahead and pause it as soon as I get an angle on the camera. So, ooh, that's not good. There we go, that's a little bit better. So we've got our mobs. We've got sap target, kill target. Additionally, we have mobs over here, as well as a few mobs that will spawn and run back up this. So we have to watch out for that. In other words, make sure your CCs are down in case you get these extra mobs when you least expect it. That way, there's only an addition of 2 instead of fighting 5, you're only fighting 3, right? The mob you're trying to kill and the 2 extras. Let's see how our group handles that. There are sap targets. They are down. Our tank is going to charge in. And mob is down already. Excellent, excellent work. That's how it's supposed to, go, no matter the CC, if it's a sheep or saps. You should only be fighting 1 mob at a time as often as possible. And my healing threat got aggro because the tank was not able to get threat. No fault of his own. When they're bubbled like that, it's just like a regular paladin bubble. You can't damage them, so you cannot get threat. But healing threat still works. Now we're looking to go to the next mob. I'm watching behind us because in Retail Classic... Oh, let's pause this. Back it up. Let's talk about what just happened. What we're going to see right here. Now, our rogues are moving into sap. Right? We have Jaxiel here. He's going into sap, what I assume would be this target. Our tank has jumped too close. Right? He is too close. These guys are all going to aggro on him. So unfortunately, we are going to be doing a almost equal numbers fight, right? I think it's 3 or 4 on 5. Something that we could have avoided. Unfortunately, though, we're going to have to deal with it as it comes at us. So now you'll notice there are 4, and our tank is now stunned. So I know that when I heal here, I would get threat. Thankfully, he's able to break the stun. He fears the mobs, which is always risky, especially in enclosed areas like this. I go ahead and stun one to try and help out as much as I can. And I keep my heals up. Pretty much everybody's getting a renew here, right? Because everybody's getting threat. I keep watching back down the hallway, looking for any spawns or any funny business. Now I've got threat again, so I go back into bear. And we've got a gouge on it. And they stunned our rogue friend, unfortunately. But I'm able to go back into bear and take an extra hit. Making sure everybody's health is alright. Watching our back. And once again, you know, despite how the pull started, the tank was able to keep the majority of the mobs on him. Only about one was running around. It's not the end of the world. Our group, especially with, you know, having worked together quite a bit in the past, we're able to handle an extra elite without too much trouble. Let's go ahead and fast forward just a tiny bit. And we have our 2 saps, as you can see in the background. Actually, we have 3 if you can look to the left here while I'm jumping. We have 3 saps, which is perfect. Then we could take out 1, no problem. Take out another, no problem. And then only have to fight, you know, 1 or 2 at a time. And I think here's where, do I mess up? Do I get to see extra mobs? I think I might. Just to my right there, you saw that crimson. So if I'm not careful, I will aggro. I go into bear to try and bash. It's too late. They've already got the stun on. No problem. I'm going to try and drink real quick. And we're about ready to take on the Cannon Master. I am going to be doing the cannonballs here, since I will have nothing to do but make sure hots and heals are up. So here we go. Now, for those of you who have not done this fight, there will be mobs that spawn opposite the cannons, and you can grab these cannonballs and use the cannons to one-shot the mobs. And that's what I'll be doing. I wait for them to spawn, one-shot them with the cannons, while keeping rejuvenation up on the tank and anybody else who needs it. So we've got maybe another 1 or 2 spawns of these Scarlet. But the undead show up, which is what I've been watching for this whole time. However, I did not expect them to show up at this point. In Retail Classic, or even Vanilla that I recall, there was never a time that the undead charged all the way through here to get at you. I want a small side note. I win the miniature cannonballs and I send them to my hunter, because they are not bind on pickup, which is actually kind of cool. So if you win those cannonballs on Turtle WoW, feel free to send them to a hunter friend. You will be their best friend. Alright, that's going to be it for part 1, guys. We'll pick up part 2 tomorrow. Until then, you guys have a good one, and take care. Catch you next time.